Hello and welcome back. Today we are doing a collection update tour for 2026. Here is the bedroom setup with a couple of statues on the window ledge. The primary parts of the collection are in a small alcove in the bedroom. So you can see we've got the books at the bottom, some smaller bits on the shelves here. Moving up, the Big Finish limited edition books. My son's collection. Then we have the office, which has seen the bulk of the changes this year. I've gotten rid of the storage boxes which were here and replaced it with this old shoe rack, which is now using for various storage bits. We have these transformers on top, including the HasLab, Optimus Prime, Omega Supreme, which was the very first HasLab I've gone in on, and I was really impressed, really happy with how that turned out. We've got one of the Dalek build tins on display. Just a alcove of little gaming bits and pieces. Bookcase with the Marvel graphic novels and some books. Moving up, these shelves have literally gone under a major change in the last 24 hours. So prior to this, 1, 2, 3, all 4 of these shelves were full of Transformers. In fact, Transformers were a huge part of the collection last year. However, I'm hopefully getting a 3D printer very soon, and I've had to move some things around to make room for that. So a bunch of the Transformers have gone into storage, sadly, but I've been able to leave out the ones which I really like, or the ones I play with quite a bit. So they're still out on display. But the first shelf has now got my Warhammer folders, magazines, and some other books. Then got the Transformers. I have to say these two were probably 2 of my favourite Transformers of the past year. In fact, they made it to the top 10. They were just absolutely spectacular figures, and I'm so glad to have those in the collection. Alpha Trion in the back there. I've literally just opened him yesterday. The review's not going to be up until March or April, just based on all of the other ones I've got reviewed. But spoiler alert, he may already be the most disappointing Transformer of 2026. Then we have all the other Transformers I have out on display. Skybite, another favourite Transformer of mine from last year. Just absolutely fantastic figure. Then on the top of the shelf we have the new Playmates Power Ranger figures, which I think are really good for what they are. And then the Playmates Tales of the TMNT figures. It's such a shame that Playmates are going to lose the license to them this year. One of the biggest changes to this room was the addition of shelving, which you can now see displays my various Power Ranger Megazords, along with the couple of Avatar bits. Unfortunately, he fell when I put him up, and I need to resort that. I got the crab last year, and unfortunately, as soon as I took it out of the box, the arm was broken. I bought it cheap at a convention, brand new. I think I bought it for like 10-15 quid at a convention, so I'm not that upset, but at the same time, it's, you know, kind of disappointing, so I probably will be looking for a new one at some point. More of the Megazords. And then my Gundam figures, which I got into quite big at the end of 24 and carried on during the start of 25. I then took a break for most of the year, but just before the end of the year, I ended up building a few more, which have been added to the collection. There. I quickly created a shelving unit earlier in the year along here, which you can see, which has some of my Warhammer figures on it. This is one of my latest pieces, and something I'm so quite proud actually of how it turned out. I think it did a really good job on that. Same with that demon in the background. Some blocky transformers. We've got a few pops. The Assassin's Creed Shadow statue, which I love. I think it's a fantastic piece. Some more Funko Pops. And then ending the room is the banner, which came with that limited edition's Assassin's Creed. So there we have the office, obviously, which went under quite a few changes this year, or the past year, should I say. And moving on to the living room. And here, finally, we have the living room, which is the main center of the collection. The PlayStation and Xbox had to move back under the TV, whereas at the beginning of last year they were displayed on the side with display stands. A lot of the pops have been removed from under here and a tidier display now. Coming over, same here with tidier displays. The reason the consoles had to move was because of the giant purchase for the year, which was the Fan Home Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord. You might have seen some of the videos where I was building this. It is truly a spectacular piece. I'm so incredibly happy with how this turned out. It's become the centerpiece of the collection, and it's just something that actually brings a great deal of joy just seeing it. You know, if you could talk to 10-year-old me and go, hey, this is what you're going to have one day, they wouldn't believe you, or I wouldn't believe you. But yeah, there we have that. Windowsill has actually had all of its stuff removed and is clear, bar this little corner here where I've got a little 3D printed plesiosaur and the Groot. The main collection is still in these bookcases. The big change is that I actually customized and added an extra row to the shelving, which gave some more space for this. Just quickly, in the alcove is the newest edition, which is my wife's life-size Guardians of the Galaxy Groot, and my Moopsie. Oh, wrong one. But yeah, here we have the primary display set out accordingly. So starting at the top, we have the McFarlane Warhammer figures I have, along into the NECA Alien figures and Predator. Typically only maybe get one figure a year, if that, for these. However, this past year I ended up with a few. I got the Night Cougar and the Panther, and then this one, and I feel like there was one more which I got. So maybe it was just those three I picked up this year. But yeah, I picked up a few because I ended up seeing them on sale cheap. Interestingly, the NECA Turtles went from being on these shelves into the office and then back again. You can see here we've got the Lars Ronan figures, which are astounding and were part of my some of my favourite figures for last year. Moving along, we've got the Mattel Master of the Universe figures I'm not a big Master of the Universe fan, but there are some characters I quite like the look of, which have just been added to the collection. Then we have a few various bits and pieces. We have the McFarlane Superman, which is one of my favourite figures for last year. The Hasbro SDCC Duel of Heroes set, and the Kaiju from the Kids Toys line for Superman, which again was another favourite of mine. Coming down, we have the Biker Mice from Mars shelf, and I can't wait for the second wave of these later this year from NECA. Not NECA, Nacelle. These, so I got those figures in 24, and they made the top 10 for 24. And the bikes were equally fantastic, and an excuse to be able to add these again to the top 10 figures at 25. I just absolutely love these. They are some of the best figures I've got in the collection. Really do stand out, and are just all-round fantastic pieces. Something new for last year was collecting some of the Jurassic World figures from Mattel. We have the Spinosaurus, 30th anniversary themed T-Rex, a couple of the vehicles. For kids' toys, I do quite like them. They're very, very simple, limited articulation. The character figures aren't anything particularly special in any way, but they do bring back a real nostalgia feel for those 93 toy line figures. Obviously they're an updated modern figure, but yeah, they do bring some of that nostalgia feel for me. So I've been quite enjoying collecting some of those throughout the year. Then we have the Godzilla Kaiju Monsterverse, I suppose you'd call it, collection. We've got a number of different Godzillas. Down Viper, which was one of the top 10 figures in the first half of the year, but I just had so many other great figures that sadly fell out of that top 10 spot. But yeah, I think for purely kids' toys, these are a great set of figures. You know, they're simple, they're chunky, they can be bashed around. They're everything a young kid could want in a monster themed toy line. Then we move down to 3 rows of the Marvel Legends figures. This grew quite a bit in the year. There was a lot of Marvel Legends I ended up picking up throughout the course of the year. And to be honest, the Marvel Legends was the reason I ended up having to get some extra shelves for these units, just because there ended up being so many new figures. Let's see here. That Venom is an amazing piece and just an absolutely fantastic beast of a figure. I truly do love that figure. Just because I haven't really got anywhere else for her at the moment, the Aloy from the PlayStation Shapes collection. Opened this just after Christmas and I am still absolutely in love with it. Amazing figure. Could very likely end up being one of my top 10 contenders for the entire year. So we'll see how that shapes up over the course of the year. The Spider collection certainly grew over the course of the year, and has really bulked out with a number of different characters and their variants. The Jeff Funko Pop I got for Christmas. I thought it kind of fit kind of amusingly in this set, so it's gone there rather than with the standard Funkos. The Ghost Rider bike's a new addition and something I really do like. I do feel it needs some customization in the paintwork, but it is a really good piece. I love that Sam Wilson Captain America. To be honest though, the cap is the Falcon Winter Soldier figure and the wings are the Brave New World figure. So I've sort of mixed and matched them together just because I prefer that white and blue colour scheme rather than the dark blue. In the back here you can see the Spider-Bot from Disneyland Paris, which is based on that theme park ride there. We did Disneyland Paris last year, so the Marvel theme was obviously quite big. Coming down, sort of the fantasy bits and pieces. Then we have DC Multiverse. Most of my Power Rangers ended up having to go into storage solely due to space and wanting other things on display, but I did keep a few out. Coming down we have the Star Wars Black Series. Picked up a few figures but nothing major during the last year. I think probably the biggest ones was the Acolyte Wave, Sonic and Street Sharks, and then finally we come down to the Doctor Who collection. I feel this did expand reasonably in the last year with a bunch of new figures from character along with some customized Daleks I did throughout the course of the year. Yeah, there we have the collection update for 2026. yeah, I'm interested to see how this shapes out over the course of the year. I have specific goals and things in mind for what I want to achieve for the collection this year. Be interesting to see if that actually happens or not. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, freedom is a right, not a privilege.